Everything's been leading up to this. Let's review Adventures in Wild Space, The Rescue.
How you get so big that you food of this kind?
Alright, so if you are familiar with this channel at all, you would know that we are really obsessed with the series Adventures in Wild Space. It is a kids kind of chapter book, middle grade novel series, but it's phenomenal for not just the young, but the young at heart. And it follows the Graf children on a quest to find their parents who have been kidnapped by the Empire. This is the final book in the series. I'm going to make this spoiler-free, as much as a review of a book called The Rescue can be spoiler-free. This final installment is written by Tom Huddleston, who really knocked it out of the park with this one. I've liked his other books in the series, but this was just far and away, you can just tell he was having an absolute blast writing this. What is going on here is the Graf children have finally found where their parents are located, and they launch said rescue mission. The planet that they're on is being mined for resources by the Empire. Now, the Empire has more problems than two kids that want their parents back. There are several cases of stormtroopers going missing. They haven't been able to mine the planet like they wanted, so there's kind of two stories going on here. There's the good guy's story, which is how to get the parents back, and then there's the bad guy's story, which is what is actually going on this planet to begin with. And again, I don't really want to go into what exactly is happening, but the world building, the imagination for the planet, the creatures that get encountered in this book are just, it's spot on. And there's so much imagination, there's so much care that went into it. It was just fun to read. I mean, I said it already, but it's fun to read a book when you know the author had fun writing it, and you can kind of join in on that fun too. One of the strong points of the Adventures in Wild Space series has always been the relationship between the two kids, Milo and Lena. Their sibling relationship is so much fun to read and feels so organic. But the fun part of this is they actually encounter their parents in this book. So now you have this kind of dual dynamic of what's going on between the two siblings and how they've grown together, but also how they've grown since their parents have seen them last. And their parents have to kind of come to terms with the fact that their kids had to grow up in their absence. And there's a really interesting dynamic too, because the kids have kind of found themselves in the role of hero throughout the series. The parents have been in captivity and have been worried about their kids throughout the series. So it's not that they're not heroic or not good guys, but they've kind of put their priorities into a place of fearing for their family rather than ideals for the family. So to see the kids kind of come back and remind them of why they were doing what they were doing and why they were standing against the Empire, it was just cool to see that kind of give and take. And the strongest part about it is so much we see how Milo and Lena, yes, work together as well as fight with each other. Here we see them as one unit talking to their parents, and we really see how they've bonded and come together. It just had a very strong emotional payoff for me as a fan of this series. It resolved all the things I wanted resolved, it hit all the points I wanted it to hit, but it also left me wanting more, and I would love to see more from this family in the future, and I think that's the best way to end a series like this. And as always, there's just an assortment of fun side characters, and it's something where you don't need a super strong knowledge of the inner workings of the Star Wars universe, you know, if you want to use this as a way to get your kids into reading Star Wars. But if you are a fan, there's a lot of fun little things in here for you too. So it's really good at hitting multiple demographics. Honestly, in my reviews past, I haven't given enough credit to David Busan, who is the illustrator of this series. He brings the story to life as much as the writing, in my opinion. And to be honest, I really wish, like, grown-up novels had pictures too, just because I feel so much more connected to the characters when I know what they look like. You know, and I can see the surroundings, and as much as authors are always good at painting that picture, it's nice to see that picture brought to life out of their writing as well. I do get a lot of enjoyment out of these being illustrated, and they're illustrated phenomenally, and it's a strong point of the series, to be sure. So that's my thoughts on The Rescue. If you're working your way through this series, you have nothing to worry about. In the last book, it's going to be everything you needed it to be. If you haven't started the series yet, I highly recommend it. You should check out our playlist of past reviews in that case, so you can kind of get a feel for what the series is like. If you are a fan of this series, or you want to know more of the behind the scenes, we had the opportunity to interview both authors. So Tom Huddleston, who wrote this book, as well as a couple others in the series, and Kevin Scott, who wrote more installments of the series. And you can check out their interviews as well. I had a lot of fun talking to them, and there's some really great information there. Besides that, make sure you're following us on Twitter at Port Haven Forums. Visit port-haven.com for even more. And as always, keep it real and fly casual.
Cooking can be fun.